Welcome to Hollywood Approved with Kristen and Yael. Each episode is an exploration of taste as we dive into the good, the bad, and the unexpected in TV and movies. Tune in for the celebrity guests, stay for the surprising recommendations. This is Hollywood Approved. Yael!
Hello!
Hello. It is so great to be here with you, even though we were in person with each other just a few days ago, which is very exciting.
Yeah, why were you here? What were you doing?
Oh, you girls just always working. No, I was working the MTV Movie and TV Awards and got to spend some time with my buddy Yael. That was the first time we got to meet in person, which is crazy because we've been doing this show now for this is the second season.
Yeah. We have so much to talk about today, all the things we're watching. But first, we have a very special guest joining us. We have the one, the only, the chameleon of chameleons, the Kathleen Garrett. Welcome, Kathleen.
Woo! Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. This is a treat.
This is such a treat.
It is. Because, girl, you are booked and busy. The First Lady, Horizon Forbidden West, Inventing Anna, FBI. You are just constantly busy. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No complaints so far.
Let's not forget also a couple episodes of The Greatest Show of All Time, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Also a judge on the original Law and Order, but more importantly, SVU.
Darling, SBO, yeah. You know, I have to tell you, all those Law and Orders, I've done 7 of them now. It's phenomenal sets to work on. All the actors are just so down to earth. It's you walk in, it's family, and it's all about the work. The best sets in the world. I've been really fortunate because all of the shows I've worked on in the past 3 years, and the other one, Power Book 2 Ghost too. The sets have been phenomenal. Everybody's just about the work, and so dang grateful that we all, got jobs. We're all here saying, "Thank you, Jesus, we're on the set." Oh my God.
Well, you've been working on so many projects, especially you mentioned in the last 5 months. So I'm curious, before we even get into them, was it a little bit of a challenge at first? Because we were in that pandemic for, we're still in it, but we were really in it for quite a while. Was that a little bit of a difficult time of just not having a lot going on, or were you just continually busy that whole time?
I was really fortunate. What happened was the pandemic. Okay. I was doing a play reading at La Mama at the same time that I was also shooting Ghost, Power Book 2 Ghost. Okay. So that was March. That was mid-March of 2020. And I was rehearsing in the day for La Mama. That's it's an off-Broadway show house in Lower East Side in New York City, for those who don't know it. And it's kind of iconic. So as I finished the rehearsal, I was on the train to go to Brooklyn for the table read for the episode that we were about to shoot for Ghost. And by the time I got to the studio, I get a text saying all production at La Mama was canceled, all production. So then Courtney Kemp, our executive producer, stands up at the table read and says, "Okay, guys, we don't know what's happening, but we're going to continue forward." And within 48 hours, that all got closed down. I jumped on a train. I saw my folks. I said, "Love you. Bye." I jumped on a plane and I went to Santa Monica. I said, "That's no way. If there's going to be a shutdown, then I'm going to stay here." So I have a place in Santa Monica, fabulous place by the ocean. And I spent every day at sunset walking the beach just because it was the greatest mental health remedy that I could think of. But and Inventing Anna. I was also shooting Inventing Anna at the same time. So everything got shut down. So then we were in limbo, and it was trepidatious because we didn't know, is anything going to get picked up again? Is everything stopped? Have they pulled the plug on everything? Especially Inventing Anna, because it was such a massive production of shooting all over the world. And but in September 1st of 2020, everything opened up again and production started, and they put me on a plane, flew me back to New York. And so I was able to work the 2 shows during much of the pandemic. I was extremely fortunate.
Well, let's talk about those 2 shows. So one was Inventing Anna. Your other show, the First Lady, is Laura Bush. Tell us, first, let's start with Inventing Anna. You played Sasha Thomas. How familiar were you with Anna Delvey and her story when you started this?
Well, it was a very well-known New York Magazine article, and a fascinating one, because it was like, really, how could she really have pulled this off? Did she really speak 7 languages fluently? Did she really con all these people? And the answer is yes. And it was just fascinating. So when, I heard that they were making it, first of all, they don't tell you the project. The project's name was actually called Untitled Project. That was the name. All I knew was that it was a Shonda Rhimes project. I didn't know exactly what it was about. They told nobody. All I knew was Shonda Rhimes. And when I heard that, I was like, yes, queen, Shonda Rhimes, yes. Because, I mean, everything that woman touches turns to gold. Everything. And for good reason. She's brilliant. So I was very excited to get that. And then when I was on set, it was so funny because I was getting contradictory notes from breakdown of what this character was. So I go up to David Frankel, the incredible director. He also directed The Devil Wears Prada, The Morning Show. So I was thrilled to be, in front of a camera with him behind it. And I said, David, I'm a little confused. This says, she's this way. This says she's that way. He goes, well, let's ask the writer. So we go. Now, Shonda wasn't on set because she doesn't go on set, but one of her head writers was there. And so she said, well, yeah, I guess that is kind of confusing. Well, you're actually multiple characters that we put into one. And I was like, so what does that mean? And basically it was like, whatever you want, Kathleen. So I just went by what was written and created the character. So and then, as we were shooting, I was understanding who this was and what this was. And it was like, oh yeah, okay, fine. But in the beginning, especially during the audition process, knew nothing, not what the project was about really at all.
Oh, wow. That's so fascinating because, obviously the people in Inventing Anna are real, but you were playing sort of like a fictionalized version of multiple people. Whereas in The First Lady, you're playing a real person, Laura Bush. Have you ever met her? What was that like to be portraying someone that's everyone knows who that is?
I got to tell you. Yeah. I got to tell you, it was the most challenging role in my entire career. And I've also done a tremendous amount of theater. Theater's incredibly challenging and difficult. But to play a living, historical, iconic, famous person that I will be compared to terrified me. And I only had, from the time they cast me to the time I got on the set, I had 2 weeks, only 2 weeks to learn this woman. And her accent is very distinct. It's very specific. It's not a Texas twang. It's not your typical Texas accent. And it's not even your typical West Texas accent. And so I hired Susan Haggerty, who is also Kate Winslet's dialect coach. I hired her as my dialect coach to work with me. And it was all last minute. And she was cramming because, she's got a huge schedule. And I was like, you're gonna do this for me. And then at the table read, right after the table read, they handed me 5 new pages. And it started out as a small role, and it ended up being quite important. And I I remember I was talking to my sister on the phone 2 days before shooting, and I broke down and cried, and I said, I don't think I can do this. And she's like, you're just exhausted, go to bed. And she was right. And yeah, so it ended up being, and Susanna Bier, I got to tell you, the director, Susanna Bier, who's also brilliant. I think she's very different. She was a very tough director in a great way. She knew what she wanted, and she wasn't going to stop till she got it. And I felt in the very end of that 13-hour shoot, 13-hour day, kind of stripped of everything to the point where it was so raw that the only thing there was just essence. And I had no idea if I was Laura Bush. I had no idea if my accent was even Texas. But it was, whatever came out was raw and was real. And I think she brought out, she brought out the best in me. That's what I was going to say. And of course, working with Viola Davis, my God, it was great.
Can I ask about accents? I've heard that some actors have like a word or a phrase that helps them get into the accent. Did you find that with this character, or is that not something you do?
A word or a phrase that helped me get into the accent?
Yeah.
No, this, again, I'm portraying somebody who I will be compared to. The difference is this. Look, if I were to portray someone from West Texas who is a fictional character, or a character who's, been deceased for decades that, nobody really remembers, then I would have, that's one thing. And I would maybe have approached it differently. But to do Laura Bush, what I did was immediately, my eldest sister was like, get her audiobook, man. I was like, oh my God, she has an audiobook. Thank you, Jesus. She's got an audiobook. So I was like, and so I'm flying to Atlanta, and I was like downloading the audiobook. I had days to get ready for this role, days. So I plug in the audiobook, and I just listened to the audiobook. And then she had this one really good interview on television, which I also downloaded and just played to get her mannerisms, because she was very real in the interview, whereas in the audiobook she was reading, So she wasn't as animated, she wasn't as relaxed, but I got the accent. So I would just repeat. People thought I was crazy on the plane, because I was sitting there just repeating things over and over again, and just kind of going like this. And of course, nobody can hear what I'm listening to, and it's just like that. I'm going to sit over there. So nobody bothered me. Yeah, so it wasn't a phrase or that. It was, I had to listen to specifics to get her specifically.
Have you spoken to her? Have you heard?
No, and I want to meet Laura Bush. Laura, if you're listening, I know you're a big YouTube fan. I know you are. Just come on, I'll fly to Texas. Let's go and have a little cappuccino. Okay, boy, she really think I'm nuts now.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Very dignified of me, isn't it? A very dignified performance. Yes, thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about your ability to really transform. You are such a chameleon. You posted this on your Instagram. I'm blown away. I'm looking at 4 literal different people here. This is amazing. So incredible.
Thank you.
Tell us about this character, because I am very intrigued about your Horizon Forbidden West character.
Horizon, yeah, that's exciting. She's Decca. She's the saged chaplain of the Tanakh warrior clan, and I am the wise old sage of the clan, and the one who wants to stop the wars going on. It's very much like the advocate I am today. But yeah, she's a beautiful character, and what I loved about it was the poetry in which my specific character was written. So I could use my Shakespearean voice in speaking her lines. But yeah, no, they flew me to Serbia to scan my face. And
Wow.
that was the biggest trip. Oh my God. They put me in this octagonal cube or octagonal little tank. I don't know how to describe it. Not very big, surrounded by 2,500 lights and 350 cameras in a 360-degree thing for 4 hours. And I was flashed lights the whole time and had to make all these obscure and absurd facial gestures. I walked out of there understanding the importance of light therapy. I was in such a good mood after that. I wasn't like high, like, you know, like on a drug, but I was like, I was happy. I was positive. I wanted to do things. I had so much energy. It's like, let's go here and let's go there. And I said, this is better than any kind of crack or cocaine. I am telling you. No, not that I advocate that, but it was, oh my God, I understood light therapy for the first time in my life. I'm like, please, can I go back in the booth? You didn't get all the facial gestures. Please let me go back. It was phenomenal. It was one of the most remarkable experiences I ever had. It was great. I loved that character. That game I think is the #1 game in the world, actually.
Wow. Well, shall we move on to our TV and movie discussions?
Darling.
Let's do it.
All right, starting with our weekly question. Kathleen, we will start with you. What is the last thing you watched?
The Tinder Swindler.
Oh, man.
Tell us about it. What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you a fan? I mean, there's been a lot of interesting, kind of controversies, sort of documentaries, like all the cons and things like that. So, how did you like it?
Well, I tuned into it because I think it's very similar to Inventing Anna. I mean, it's a true story about a con artist, and a very good con artist, and who is still at large. I mean, Anna Sorkin is still at large. I mean, she was deported back to Germany and free as a bird. And she's doing a documentary on herself. So she's making money that way. I mean, she got to get exactly what she wanted, fame. And now she's getting her money. So, and this guy here, he only got 5 months in prison. Oh my God. After what he did to people, after the money that he stole from people, and you only got 5 months in prison. Where's justice? It was amazing how good he was. What amazes me about these people is that there is absolutely no empathy and no conscience or remorse about what they've done. The swindling, how they really could destroy people. Oh well. And then they get off with a slap on the wrist, and he's going to do it again. He's probably doing it again now, because I mean, not everybody has seen that show, and he's probably right back at it.
I actually watched The Tinder Swindler and Inventing Anna back to back, and so in my head they're very much like they're in the same universe. They're related. And I think it's so interesting. You're right that he went away for 5 months, not for what he did to those women, right? And she got deported, not for what she did, right? Like they all got punishment for something else, not for the worst thing that they did.
And it wasn't really even real punishment.
Right.
I'm wondering, maybe she'll find him on like the dating site, and maybe they'll like date each other. Now that would be justice.
They'll end up conning each other.
that would be justice.
There is a beautiful TikTok of them on a date. It's very funny.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, like a fake one?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my God, I gotta find it.
All right, Kristen, what is the last thing that you watched?
I was watching Stranger Things 4, the new season. Wild. Oh my gosh, the theories and the twists and turns. I'm so excited for the volume 2 that's coming out in July. But you know, this is the first time that everybody in the group of Stranger Things has been separated. You know, there's like a whole murder mystery going on in Hawkins. There's you know, people trying to get Hopper and save him. There's a whole story of now, you know, like Eleven and Will are in California. Like, what is life out there like for them now? The emotions, man, just it was a lot of ups and downs. I didn't think it was too long. I know the episodes now are like over an hour. I loved it. I was here for it, and I think that they open up a lot of very interesting doors for like where we could go next. What does this really mean about like where the Upside Down even came from, or like where people's powers have come from, and all these things. Like I'm just, it's a really good show. I'm excited to see where the rest goes. Have you guys checked it out?
I haven't yet. I was really into the first season. Then the second season for me, just in the beginning, got a little too wacky.
I think that's how a lot of people were like kind of fell off after season 2, or they just kept going. You know, it was like one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
This season looked scarier than the previous ones.
It is. So, yeah, this is definitely more of a horror season. It's definitely got like vibes of Nightmare on Elm Street, I would say. You know, because they always go back to like an 80s kind of thing. So I would say
too
it's
scary.
Too
like, scary.
Scary. What about you, Yael? What's the last thing you watched?
I watched Barry. I've started the new season, which is wrapping up next week. It's about a hitman who realizes that he wants to be an actor. I will say, I watched the first season and I was like, great, I don't need to watch anymore. And then I watched the second and third season. And I'll say this, if you live in LA or work in the entertainment industry, it's hilarious. There are jokes though that I'm like, do people who are not in this industry get that? Like, I don't know that it makes sense to people not specifically in LA or not in.
Do you have an example of like a joke that you're like, do people get this?
Yeah, there was all a discussion about whether a show was going to make it or not, and they canceled it because of the algorithm. And I was like, I don't know that this is funny to people outside of LA.
Well, I don't know. I know I'm bitter when they cancel my show.
Well, also too, I mean, it's like Henry Winkler's acting class is in Reseda. Now, if you don't know LA, Reseda is way the fuck out. You know, there's nothing going on in Reseda. No offense, Reseda, but come on. You know, and it's like, I mean, that's where the strip joints are. You know, they're like in Reseda. And then, so these actors like, do you think I'm going to make it? It's like, no, you are not. But, you know, and so if you're in the business, you're going to get that. If you're not in the business, you're going to think, oh, this is a legit acting class.
Right.
It's not.
Oh my God.
I mean, and that's what's so funny. I mean, and he's such a hack, you know, at it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I loved the first season. The second season got a little too testosterone driven for me with the wars and all this stuff. It's like, oh, come on. You know, the first season was pretty funny.
I think the third season doesn't get less testosterone. So I agree. All right. Our next question is a show or movie that you just discovered. Kathleen, what did you just discover?
I just discovered The Lincoln Lawyer, which is a David E. Kelly film series. And, you know, David E. Kelly, it was interesting because he was at the premiere of The First Lady, because Michelle, his wife, is one of the first ladies. So I just had to walk up to him. I said, because we're both standing there, we're kind of like standing there waiting, because I'd already gone through the red carpet line, and she was just making her walk through. So I just kind of turned to him. I said, I just have to say hello. I just am a fan of your work. I felt like a jerk, you know. I was like going, but I just had to say it because this guy is so good. He's so good. I mean, his series, and you talk about a chameleon as a writer. picket fences, and you have LA Law, and then you have Boston Legal, and then now you have this, and I'm not even saying all of them. Oh my God, he did Pretty Little Lies. The guy is so good. So so I started watching that. I discovered that. I was very glad. I mean, he opens that. I don't know. It's not a spoiler, but he opens the very first scene of the pilot. It's such a fascinating. This guy is in a parking garage right away. When you're in an undercover parking garage, you know something's gonna happen. I mean, it's just a given. It's like modern day horror. So the guy is walking, and he kind of stops, and he's paranoid. Da 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 da. Well, I won't say anything. Okay, I'm not going to ruin it. But anyway, I just thought, what a fabulous opening. So
he does do like you were saying, Big Little Lies, and then also like Boston Legal. His stuff really is just one side and the other. They're so different. Where would you place Lincoln Lawyer on a David E. Kelley spectrum?
Much closer to Boston Legal than Pretty Little Lies. Yeah, because there's a little tongue in cheek in it, okay, and but there's mystery in it too. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, but I saw this amazing video online with Chris Gorham and Becky Newton, like reprising their roles from Ugly Betty in like a clip, and like because they were working together on the set, and I was like, I love it. So that already like put that on my list, and now you've moved it up higher to watch starting tonight, because I'm like, oh, it sounds good. Plus it has some good people.
Yeah, that cast is stacked. Pretty good.
Oh yeah.
All right, Kristen, what is a short movie you just discovered?
Yeah, so I just watched Hustle. It comes out tomorrow on Netflix, but they had some early screenings. So I got to see one out when I was in California this week, and it's basically Adam Sandler is playing this down on his luck like basketball scout looking for an extraordinary player, and he finds one abroad, but there's like kind of like this back and forth of like, can he even bring this guy out here? And, it's like a nice inspirational basketball sports movie. LeBron James produced it. And there was like really nice sort of like father-son dynamic, even though the people are not actually related. But, like that kind of like having a mentor that's like really there for you and looking out for you. So I thought it was really fun. And you have a lot of basketball people, and then like Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah. So yeah, if you're like into sports movies and like, nice, inspirational ones with some fun humor, I recommend.
Okay. Adam Sandler doing a serious there's like a 50-50 shot on that.
I like Adam Sandler. I think he's got the range. He can go funny, he can go serious. So yeah.
All right.
What about you, Yael? What did you discover?
I just discovered. Look, I know that Scott, who is from the LA Critics Association, has been nonstop talking about this, and I just discovered it. And it is the Cyrano movie with Peter Dinklage. It was nominated for a bunch of awards last year. It's, of course, the story of Cyrano de Bergerac, but done in an interesting way, and it's a musical. I really enjoyed this. I love a good Cyrano story. I really love like a modern Cyrano story. You know how they always do the high school versions. But going back to the roots of the Cyrano story is fun. And Peter Dinklage is always fantastic. He's just so amazing. And the music wasn't too bad. I got to see it on a plane, I'm going to be honest. So it was not the best way to watch it, but it was still very enjoyable. Have you all seen the Cyrano, the new one?
The new one, no. I know the original one.
Right.
I know the Mary-Kate and Ashley versions. I have not seen any original Cyranos, but I've seen a lot of the teen ones.
I really seeing that made me really want to rewatch the Steve Martin Roxanne one.
That's a nice one, actually, the Steve Martin one.
Yeah. I will say the Sierra Burgess is a loser is the worst of the teen ones.
Yeah. Yeah. That one was a little rough.
It's not. So if you're going to watch them, skip that one. All right, moving on. What is a show or movie you were obsessed with growing up, Kathleen?
The one and only, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Who's her? I love the lion. I love the lion. I mean, as a kid, see, when I was a kid, you know, it was only on once a year on television. And so it was this huge anticipation. And it became a family evening. You know, my cousins would come over and we'd all get together on the couch and we'd turn off all the lights and we would watch it. And it was so exciting and so thrilling. And then you just start to do all the characters, like, who rang that bell? We did. Well, can't you read the sign? What sign? Well, it's as plain as the nose on my... Because there's no sign. Anyway, or like, you know.
Put them up.
Yeah. Oh, she was hungry. When they go and they pick the apples. Oh, we don't want those apples with those little worms. Are you saying my apples aren't what they ought? You know, like, anyway.
Wow.
Obscure lines, man. Obscure lines. I'm telling you.
I love that. I can't even remember the last time I saw that.
It is a brilliant film. It is a brilliant film, and so many different messaging. So many different messaging in that story. And Judy Garland. Oh my God, what an actress! Mm-hmm. Years ago, a friend of mine was good friends with Lorna Luft. And so we were all going to go to the Hollywood Bowl together and listen to Elton John. So we went to her house first to pick her and her husband up. And I wasn't thinking about it, right? So we walk in and I turn and I see in the living room, there's this huge Andy Warhol of Judy Garland wrapped in a black sable. And it's actually it's one of his most famous Warhols. And I looked and my knee-jerk reaction was, whoa, that's a Warhol. Then I realized, that's your mother. And that, I'm sorry, to sit there and to say Judy Garland's your mother was like, wow, that's pretty trippy. Anyway, for those who don't know Judy Garland, this will be completely over your heads. Anyway.
No, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Anyway, so I highly recommend, if anybody doesn't know what to watch, rewatch The Wizard of Oz or watch it for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to see the at the Academy Museum. They like have all of this stuff about the making of and the dresses and it's so incredible. I remember walking through there being like, I should rewatch this. I haven't seen it in years.
It's brilliant. It's an absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristen, when was the last time you watched it?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I like can vividly remember like being like a child though, like in my cousin's living room, like sitting all together and watching it. Like my cousin was the one that always introduced me to all the like iconic musicals when we were younger, like watching West Side Story or, you know, all those like older Elvis movies. Like that was like her whole thing. And so we would just like all sit and watch them as like a family.
Yeah. It's a family affair. It's a family event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my favorite line was one of my favorite lines is when they go and they meet Oz for the first time, and it's like, "I am Oz, the great and powerful."
Mm-hmm.
It's like you do all your elocution, you know, in that line.
I think one of the cool things about The Wizard of Oz too is just how people have like even like you were saying, like, well, people still know Judy Garland. I feel like they've kind of introduced that story so many different ways that like she will forever, you know, be an icon even for, you know, maybe young people who didn't grow up with her now, but like, you know, you still have all these like retellings of that story that still go back to that original one, like Wicked, and, you know, it like continues to live on, you know?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's true.
What about you, Kristen? What is a show or movie you were obsessed with growing up?
Oh man, it was Teen Witch. It was Teen Witch. I love Teen Witch. Um, it was funny though because I feel like for like a lot of my life, it would be one of those shows that would come on TV, and I would like always miss the beginning or miss the middle or miss the end. And so for a while, I didn't even realize I had never seen the whole thing. I was just like, "That's my favorite movie," but I'd only seen like snippets. And then once I finally watched it, I was like, yeah, this is it. I mean, it's got Robin Lively, Blake Lively's older sister, finding out when she turns 16 that she's got magic powers, and she uses it to get what every teenager wants, popularity. She had the coolest outfits, and oh gosh, it was just great. The music, just all of it. I wanted every outfit she had. I wanted her little like magical necklace. Eventually she learns, as you expect in a movie like this, that it's not, all about popularity, but it works out all in the end for her. And I would just watch this movie like every year. Oh, it's so good. Big fan.
I'm also a big fan. Anything with witches, I'm into, as you know.
So we're a Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So mine, this is going to make it sound like I'm younger than I am, but I'm not. So this one actually really, like, I was reminded that I should rewatch it because I love it. I loved it so much because Ray Liotta was in it. It's Heartbreakers. It's Ray Liotta, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sigourney Weaver, and Gene Hackman. It's a mother and daughter con team who seduce and scam wealthy men's. This movie, it like was so underappreciated. I feel like it did not do big numbers, and I feel like nobody's seen it. But it's just, if you love con artists and heists, which I absolutely do, it's about women con artists, which is rare to see on TV, unless you're watching Inventing Anna. So it feels very on brand for today's episode. It also has Ray Liotta in a really beautiful role where he's like, you think he's a skis bag, but then it turns out he's not a skis bag. It was just really beautiful. And Gene Hackman is Gene Hackman.
Yeah. I love that.
Gene Hackman is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's, I believe, not available to stream anywhere for free, which is heartbreaking. That's why it's called Heartbreakers. But I know that it's a movie from the 90s, and I was not that young in the 90s. So still. All right, our last question for the day. What is your current go-to comfort show or movie, Kathleen?
This is a show that you probably don't even, probably a lot of your viewers may not even know of. It's called Enchanted April. It is a British film from the 90s. And what I love about it is like, it's all these English women that don't really know each other, but they answer an ad on a dreary winter rainy day in England to rent a villa in Italy, in Tuscany. And so they all kind of congregate in this villa, and they all come with their baggage. They all come, one has a broken marriage, or the marriage is failing. The other one is this famous, gorgeous, beautiful model that wants to get away from all her men. And everybody has their troubles, and they transform in this little villa, in this beautiful home. And it is so charming. It's exactly Enchanted April. It's exactly that. It's one of the most charming, feel good, lovely movies. And I'm going to Italy for my birthday this month. My birthday is this month. Oh. So I'm going to Ischia and Positano and Rome. It's gonna be amazing. And so I'm looking for that kind of enchanted little getaway myself.
Enchanted June.
Darling, Enchanted Italia.
Yes. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing.
Well, happy almost birthday.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
I have not seen this movie, but you were telling us something about this iconic cast and the actors in it before we began.
Oh God, you have Miranda Richardson again. But the thing is, your viewers may not know these actors. Alfred Molina. Help me out here.
Oh, let me pull it up.
Pull them up quick. IMDb. Anyway,
I had it.
they're all
Joan Plowright.
Oh, Joan Plowright. Oh my God, Joan Plowright is this older. I think she's now since passed away, but this older actress married to Sir Laurence Olivier. Brilliant. These are brilliant actors. You know, they all come from the theater, and so to translate that incredible skill to film is always so exciting. I come from theater myself. Not that I'm saying I translate this brilliance to film, but
I'm going to say it. You translate the brilliance to film.
Darling. You're right on cue. You're very good, yeah. But anyway, it's a wonderful feel-good movie. It really is.
Amazing. I'm going to find out where that is streaming and watch that later.
If it is streaming anywhere, Lord knows.
All right, Kristen, what about you? Your go-to comfort movie or show?
Well, you know, Yael, I've been on a theater kick lately.
Lately, you mean your whole life?
Pretty much my whole life. But like extra more now that like Broadway's back. So I've been watching In the Heights like a lot. She's been watching a lot. I just love the music, and I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is such a great like writer and like composer. So the fact that like we got In the Heights last year, I thought it was really well done. I loved the celebration of like the Latino culture in New York City, and then with the music, with the actor, like literally I was watching it last night on the plane ride home, and I'm like trying to hold in the tears that are like coming out of me. You know, when you just get overwhelmed because you're like, oh, I just love this music so much, and you're like, I'm like, people next to me, don't look at me, don't look at my face, it's doing weird things. I'm not crying, I promise. It's allergies. But yeah, I just really, it's so much fun. It's so vibrant. It gives me chills. So that's what I've been.
I think Lin-Manuel is a genius.
Yes.
I mean, what he did, he took an 850-page historical book on Hamilton and turned it into one of the most remarkable pieces of theater. I was in the front row seeing Hamilton before the Tonys.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I was like saying to myself going, okay, I'm jaded. All right, what's all this hype about? Okay, does this really live up to its hype? And at the end, when the curtain went down and I was with my friend and we just sat in the theater as the theater was funneling out. And all I thought was, in looking at that going, I have accomplished nothing in my life. I could not believe what he had done. He took historical figures, all white, white male historical figures, and made it so I'm watching George Washington, who's black in the show, and not realizing, oh, he's played by an African American. Of course he is. And he made it so that any kid of any color, of any background, of any socioeconomic background can look at that and say, I can do that. I can be president of the United States. I can be the trade. I can be this. I can be someone great because I just saw it on stage. And he did it in a way that he did not proselytize. He did it in a way that it was so subconscious. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, like when he walked on the stage, because the opening line, you know, you first have Burr walk on, and then you have George Washington walk on. They all do their little thing, and then when he walks on, the audience screamed. First of all, when the lights went down, just when the show was going to start, the lights went down. The audience started screaming. Now I'm in the front row, so it's all coming from behind me, and I'm turning. I'm going like, oh my God! It was as if we were in a rock concert.
Wow.
And they were, and when he walked on, forget about it. And then he puts in hip hop, he puts in rap, he puts in ballad. It was remarkable. I was so grateful to have seen that. I was so grateful to, and in the front row to just be like right there.
What an experience. I mean, I'm the one screaming, but like in my living room as I watch it on Disney Plus, but wow, like that must have been amazing. I just can't, like, just the power of like theater, and like you said, like being able to look at something and be like, wow, I could like do that. I feel like I don't know if it's necessarily from Hamilton or from just like the rise of things that have come since then as well, but like I feel like there's been a lot of stuff lately where, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, I never thought that I could do that, or I could play that role, or I could be that type of person. But then you're seeing someone like out of the ordinary playing it, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, for instance, in London right now, them having a Black girl playing Elle Woods in Legally Blonde. I was like, this is incredible, like just that little thing just like makes you feel so inspired or like empowered, or like the fact that like Six the musical is like a mixture of women of different backgrounds, body types, ethnicities, races. Like it's all different, and they're playing these characters of the women of the wives of Henry VIII, which in real life probably would have been mostly all white women. But like the fact that they can like come in and it's like it doesn't even matter. We're just telling this incredible story with incredible vocals, and ooh, I love it.
I got to tell you, it's happening also in television and in film, which is such a male dominated. Well, all of entertainment has been so male dominated, white male dominated, and also to have been a part of projects like Shonda Rhimes, Inventing Anna. My cinematographer on the pilot was a woman. It was the first woman I had ever shot with who was a female cinematographer. I'd never met a female cinematographer. And the first thing I said to her when I met her was, oh my God, this is the first time in my life I'm working with a woman who's behind the camera like that. And then Ghost, you have Courtney Kemp, who African-American, another African-American, the showrunner creator of this whole Power Book enterprise. Oh my God, what's the other one? Inventing Anna. Wait, what was the other one? Oh, the First Lady. The First Lady. Kathy Schulman is the showrunner. Susanna Bier is the director. Viola Davis is one of the executive producers. It is an honor to be a part of this and to be a part of the change in what's happening. I mean, they're still pushing up boulders. They're still pushing up boulders, but yes, it is becoming more inclusive and empowering. I mean, to look at some, and especially, I look at somebody like Shonda Rhimes, female, African-American, and the most powerful producer in television. And it makes me say, well, if she can do that, then what is my excuse? There is none. Then I can do, maybe not what she does, but I can succeed. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
Absolutely.
It's very exciting.
It really is. It really is. When you see all those changes and, the impact that it has on people, like, it's just, woo, you feel it. You feel the energy. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we should wrap things up. Kathleen, tell us, where can everyone find Inventing Anna? Where can everyone find the First Lady? Where can everyone find you on social media?
Inventing Anna is, you can find me on social media at Instagram at this is Kathleen Garrett. I would love it, darlings. I do interact with people. So if you want to comment on one of my posts, I will comment back if you're kind, only if you're kind. Yeah. Inventing Anna is on Netflix. And Showtime is hosting The First Lady. That's Showtime going on now. FBI, I did FBI this season too. So that's, if you stream it, that's CBS. That episode is called Grief. I play Rena's mother on that. Rena was, I guess, one of the fan faves. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West is on PlayStation.
Wow. Everything is available now.
Oh, and Ghost, Power Book 2 Ghost is Stars. I'm in season 1.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Before we go, we want to remind you that the Hollywood Critics Association has lots of amazing content coming out every week, including many after shows, Pop Council on Mondays, this show on Tuesdays, and so much more. Until next time, Kristen, where are you on the internet and what are you up to these days?
You can find me everywhere at Kaymaldo, Kaymaldo. And you can also check out my website and my supplementary video podcast, Pop Culture Planet, where we cover the world of entertainment while also highlighting inclusion and diversity. What about you, Yael?
I am everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. Check me out there to find out what I'm up to. But mostly you can find me here on Tuesdays and over on the Law & Order SVU podcast, Law & Order S Review, talking about the greatest show of all time, obviously. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.